Second bye game in a row for Arkansas following that close loss at Michigan State. They routed Central Arkansas earlier in the week. Now they host Samford this Friday night. Samford, brand new coach Lenny Acuff after Bucky McMillan left for Texas A&M. Should be a matchup of two teams that are going to get some shots up. They both have some absolute gunners, but of course we expect Arkansas to have a significant advantage in this one just with the size, the athleticism, the depth, all across the board. Hopefully it'll be an opportunity for them to continue to sort of shape up their lineup to get these freshmen more acclimated. But J-Man, what are some storylines you're looking for out of this one?
Yeah, I mean, look, I was gonna say bounce back game, but they already played Central Arkansas after the Michigan State game. So they got, they exercised some demons against Central Arkansas, beating them 93-56. But honestly, kind of just continuing that momentum against Samford. Like it was, it wasn't the prettiest loss that they had against Michigan State. Their offense really was stagnant and struggled, and that was kind of the tell of the game against Michigan State. So you want to see that progression continue against Samford. And like I said, 93 against Central Arkansas is a good step in the right direction. Acuff went back to his old ways, had 21, 6, and 4, and then shot 9 of 16. But a guy that I want to focus on with this is, I told you, is Malik Thomas. Malik Thomas, like he had 17, but he was 6 of 17, and that's kind of been the story of his year so far. Malik Thomas, 7 of 15, 5 of 15, 6 of 17, and then the three-pointers just almost double digits every game, 10, 9, and 13. And so he is pulling and he's shooting 38% from the field. This should be a Malik Thomas game where he shoots 45% or better against.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm with you. You want to see that percentage start to spike. This is a game where, like, if you're Malik, it's like, okay, I got to lock in. He's averaging nearly 11 three-point attempts a game, which is just so absurd. I love it, though. And hopefully in this one, you could, I think there is potential for it to be like a group chat starts popping off with like Malik Thomas all caps when he makes his seventh or eighth three of the night. I will say, even though he has been taking whatever shot he's wanted to, he's had six or more assists in two of the three games so far. Again, both against low major competition. But, I think he's a sneaky, well rounded guard prospect, I would say. Like, I think he is more than just a shooter. And I've always just been in love with his form, like his base, his release, all of that. It's just such a pretty shot to where, it is kind of crazy to be like, dude, you literally have been pulling up double digits like in pretty much every game on the year from beyond the arc. But when your shot looks that good, I'm cool with it. And I do like he can do a little bit more than just spot up or run off a screen or whatever. Like I think he can give them some extra ball handling where would look for him to continue to get involved, get acclimated, and get to know his teammates a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, that is the crazy thing about him is he kind of is just like a shooter because like seems like 70% of his shots, 10 of his 15 against Southern, threes,
Hmm.
9 of his 15 against Michigan State, threes, 13 of his 17 against Central Arkansas, threes. But then, like you said, 2 of his 3 games, 6 or more assists, and then every game he's had 6 rebounds. And he's 6'5" guard. Like that's a really good stat line. And he
Hmm.
has a couple steals in those games too. It's a very unique offensive game he has shown, or I guess game in general that he's shown in the first 3 games to where I think this is the game where he figures it out offensively, efficiently against Samford. And he has the point guard in Acuff that can get it himself, but also
Hmm.
is a hell of a facilitator to give Malik Thomas easy buckets and easier looks than I think what he's gotten so far in his college career.
Yeah, I'm with you completely on that. This is like just a dynamic guard duo that I think sort of feels like a throwback to some older Cal teams. Like I think about like the Tyler Hero team where remember he started out so poorly in the Champions Classic against Duke when y'all won by like 50.
Mhm.
And I just remember watching that game and being like, why is Calipari treating Tyler Hero like he's JJ Redick and trying to run the offense through him? Lo and behold, that team makes the Elite Eight, and their stellar guard play among the freshman class was a huge part of that. And in that sense, where it's like you're gonna see some of those ugly shooting percentages from Acuff and Malik Thomas this time of the season. I like Acuff had some really rough shot selection against Michigan State, and I know they were able to frustrate him with just how hard they played defensively. But he's gonna figure that out as the year goes on, and these types of games are just only gonna continue to build the chemistry between the two of them. And yeah, I mean, I don't know with Thomas in general, I just can't say to the casual fan out there enough who hasn't watched much Arkansas, like don't just disregard him as some chucker who only wants to shoot threes. Really good passer. Like I don't think you're gonna confuse him right now as like a primary initiator, but you get him like a if the ball is in his hands on like the second read or something, he can, excuse me, if the ball is like swung to him, he can make those secondary reads quite well. And just his size and wingspan allows him to compete on the defensive end too. So yeah, I'm looking to see just those guys continue to take steps forward to grow as a unit and to hopefully be a little bit cleaner, just from a field goal percentage standpoint. But even beyond that, the front court to me is very fascinating to see how this plays out. You know, Trevin Brazil didn't play against Central Arkansas, dealt with minor back spasms per reports. We'll see if he is back for this one. But even beyond that, you're getting good production out of Carter Knox. I think Billy Richmond looks a little more comfortable on the wing. To me, I really want to see Malik Ewan get going. I'm like kind of ready for them to put him in the starting lineup over Nick Pringle. Maybe Arkansas fans feel differently, but every time I watched Ewan at Florida State last year, I saw this skilled big man who you could run the offense through. And I just think when you have guards like Acuff and Thomas, who, I mean, we did compliment, they can pass the ball. I think Acuff is a true lead guard who can score and distribute. And I just said Malik Thomas is a sneaky good passer as well. But still, I'm just looking at someone like Ewan who has a good feel for the game and can just get those guys easier looks. To me, he was like one of the better bigs in the portal, and they're just not really playing him right now. So I don't know if it's something in practice or what that Cal is seeing, but I would love to see him get going in this one.
Yeah, that's a good pull, Malik Ewan. I want to see some more out of him too. And to go back to the facilitating, I mean, they have three guys that are averaging 5 assists a game, and
Hmm.
that's spreading the pillow around. Like that's a very solid. And Carter Knox averaging 2.5. Like they average 19 assists a game. So like Calipari's offense is like from being back to Kentucky, and even maybe a little bit last year. It was more, ISO or go take over type of play. And so to see like this team facilitate it and share the ball that well is something that shows that this Arkansas team is going to get better and better. And Malik Thomas, that we touched on, is going to hit more and more shots to where these numbers are going to look good. And I'm very curious to see how they continue to improve because one thing about Calipari, he has not been shy to say that his teams are way better in January and February than they are in November. And to his credit, like he's proven that. Like the Kentucky team that lost by a billion to Duke that you just touched on, they ended up being something at the end of the year. They were competitive and they were better. And then last year's Arkansas team, they didn't have a great
Mm.
non-con to start the year. So I think it started like 10-2, and then they really struggled out of the gate against SEC play where people were starting to talk about Calipari not working at Arkansas. What does he do? He goes to Kentucky when nobody thought they could do it, beat Kentucky on the road, and then they sneak in to March Madness, have a good year overall. To where I think this Arkansas team is way more ahead of schedule than last year's. To where you're going to see this team really find its groove. Yeah, they lost to Michigan State. It was ugly, but in terms of Calipari teams early on in the season against high major opponents, I think they're a way ahead of the learning curve than they are accustomed to. And I think this is another test for them against Samford to where they're going to click on all cylinders with their guard play and Nick Pringle and those type of guys.
Yeah, yeah. Even to that point, like where they'll continue to improve. I think they're way ahead of schedule defensively. And, uh, you got to tip your cap to both Acuff and Thomas just with, you always think about freshman guards struggling, but to even build off of that standpoint of like a throwback Cal team where I always thought like in his heyday at Kentucky, it always amazed me how well he got freshmen to buy in defensively. And I mean, right now they're top 20 defense per KenPom. They have held both of their last two opponents under 10% from three, which say what you will about Michigan State shooting, still like doing that in the Brez, pretty impressive. This I don't know if you noticed this against Central Arkansas. Central Arkansas shot 4 for 41 from beyond the arc in that game. That's one of that's maybe part of that is those dudes just shouldn't be shooting, but I'm going to give Arkansas some credit for that because they just have such great positional size. I mean, obviously, DJ Wagner has sort of carved out a role over the years with being that, like being a pretty solid point of attack defender. But, Acuff's already built like a 5-year NBA vet. I mean, Richmond and Knox on the wing, both of those dudes have great size, and Knox has really bulked up some. And, even though like I want to see Malik Ewan unseat Nick Pringle, mean, he can at least give you a little bit of rim protection down there. So, yeah, I'm like, this defense, I think, is already ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I'm looking at Central Arkansas. I was like, Central Arkansas, I know the Bears pretty well because on Action Network, my first write-up for Action was UNC versus Central Arkansas preview, and I had UNC covering against them because I think their tallest guy was like 6'7", and they
Yeah.
weren't going to be able to score. And they lost to UNC 94-54 and lost to Arkansas 93-56. So, I think we're learning a trend about the Bears here, and their one win was against the champion Christian Tigers. They won
Hey,
163.
don't sleep on Champion Christian, man. Champion.
I'm in a coma when I'm talking about this champion Christian Tigers. They
That
it
sounds like such a fake school, dude. There's no way that's a real school.
it's Rodney Purvis's college from the upper room over there. I'm joking, but how he went to upper room high
Yes,
school in
yes.
Raleigh, and it literally was an upper room. So to get back us on track, yeah, like Samford is going to be a few levels a step ahead of Central Arkansas, but obviously they lost. Their head coach goes to A&M, and
Mhm.
so it's a new system and stuff. But they have that Jaden Booth, who they're playing live right now as we're recording, but they're averaging 30 points a game and shooting the piss out of the ball from three. Like this kid is going to fill it up, or he's going to try and fill it up against a very good backcourt of Arkansas.
Yeah, this will be like a go make your money, A Cup. Go make your money, Malik Thomas. Like show if you can prove that, the SE is a little bit different. The SEC is a little bit different than the SoCon. It's one of those games where it's like, okay, this is where even if you're young and inexperienced, your size advantage, your athleticism advantage, it should come to light in this matchup against a guy like Jaden Booth, who, to his credit, I mean, we don't know how many they're playing Texas Southern as we record this. We don't know how many attempts he'll end with from beyond the arc, but he has also eclipsed double figures so far in 3-point attempts in every game, which to his credit, he's hitting a lot, but he can at least make it a little interesting, I would say. Like, I think Lenny Acuff's a really good coach. He's had some great offenses at the mid-major level with Lipscomb and really elevated that program, got them to the NCAA tournament last year. So, and I think there's only the second appearance in school history. First time they went was with Casey Alexander, who's at Belmont now. So it's a program that has, I think, just in recent, let's say the past decade, has bred two good coaches who went on to higher level mid-major programs. So I don't think it would be like a complete walk in the park with Arkansas, but it looks like one of those games where across the board, the tallest guy that they'll have on the court, 6'9", Dylan Faulkner. I mean, that's what I always look for with these mid-major guys. Like, where's your positional size coming from? And that a lot of times kind of tells you the story where you might have a team like Samford who is, I believe they're shooting 39% from three as a team so far on the season and can like keep it close for maybe the first half. Maybe they go into the break with like an 8-point deficit or something. But Arkansas can just hit the gas and flip a switch at a moment's notice. And it's one of those contests where about the under 12 in the second half, I would expect it to be comfortably in hand.
Yeah, as you were talking, right, I was looking at the live score. They're down, I think, 4 to Texas Southern, and their two leading rebounders are our boy and their 6 foot shooting guard. I just clicked out of it. So
Keaton
you're
Norris, I
yeah.
believe is yeah.
So Keaton Norris is the leading rebounder at 6 foot against Texas Southern. So not great. I'm pulling up to how they rebounded against Tulane in their loss, and they actually won the rebounding shockingly, 36-28 in a 13-point loss. So maybe they just gang rebound. Maybe that's just Sanford's mentality. They are Bulldogs, so maybe it's just a Bulldog mentality get to the boards. But they are going against an athletic and bigger Arkansas team, and I just think that's going to be too much for them, obviously, because Arkansas they have the potential to really click, and I think we're going to see a glimpse of that, obviously, against Sanford.
For sure. Let's close this one out with some predictions. Kim Palm has a spread minus 22 in favor of Arkansas. That feels about right, honestly. I would envision them getting somewhere between a 19 to like 23, 24-point victory. I'll say Arkansas. They feel like they'll probably like scoring 90 feels about right. Yeah, I'm gonna go all in with Kenny Pom Poms on this one.
I honestly was thinking the same thing. Like looking at that score, predicted score of 90-68 feels like right on the nose. So I will be different and I'll say eight. When I say different, I'm gonna go like 1 point each. I'm gonna go 89-67 because I think it's right there. 90-68 seems perfect. I think uh, you're gonna see Malik Thomas just be more efficient and it's going to be a comfortable 20-point game. It's never going to be a threatening where Samford is down, 7 with under 12 timeout. It's going to be
Yeah,
a
yeah.
comfortable 20 from start to finish.
See, I would say I think Stanford might keep it close for. I'll give them until like the under 5 in the first half,
That's
and that's
fair.
when Kentucky goes on a run and never looks back. But I mean, being in a dogfight with Texas Southern does kind of give me a little bit of pause with that. I just think that they can at least shoot. That would maybe they step up and when the lights are the brightest, but. Good opportunity for Arkansas just to continue to refine its rotations and to get those freshmen more acclimated, get them more comfortable, and moving on toward those games that truly start to matter.